Hello, everybody. Hey, before we get started, can I get everyone to make sure your doors are shut and your other devices are turned off? I'm going to cover quite a bit of information in a short period of time, so I need your full attention. Also, everyone on this call will receive a copy of this training and the material at the end of the broadcast. My name is Chris Duffield, and I'm an account executive for New Line Mortgage. For about the next 15 to 20 minutes, we're going to talk about FHA High Balance loans, probably for about the next 15 minutes. I don't see it going much past that. Also, before we get started, I'd like to take a moment and ask for your business. As an AE, I'm paid commission, so the best compliment you can give me is to send me a loan. If you find this training useful and learn something new, please send me a loan on any product. New Line offers some great FHA, VA, conventional, and USDA pricing right now. I also have many other trainings available on these products and other subjects. At the end of this training, I'll show you the link to my blog where I have all of my trainings stored. After I record a training like today, I upload it to my blog and it's there, and you're welcome to go and listen to the training, download the material. You'll notice I've got quite a bit in there, and I'm adding more each week, and they're all real quick trainings. All of my trainings are designed to be very subject specific. You know, I'm not trying to cover too much in one training. I want to keep them short. I want to keep them sweet. I want to keep them relevant to what you're working on, kind of like I'm standing over your shoulder, or I'm standing there in front of you, and we're talking about something. I wanted to keep it that way. I think that's one of the best ways because we all need that training on the fly. It's hard to take 3, 4, 8 hours and sit down and train, and you lose a lot of the information anyway because you don't end up using it right away. So anyway, my trainings are designed to be there to help you learn your first time and easy refreshers as well. Okay, so FHA, high balance loans. The guidelines we're going to discuss today are specific to high balance loans only. The information we're going to go over does not include all of FHA's guidelines, just the differences, additional requirements, and/or investor overlays. If you'd like a general overview for all of FHA's guidelines, go to my blog and go to FHA Purchase Loans, Pre-Qual Questions, and Tools. And if you take that, it's about a 30-minute class, and it will run you through all of FHA's guidelines. Pretty much all of them. The ones most commonly used. How's that? Okay, so high balance, underwriting and product guidelines. I'd like to put the bug in your ear right off the bat that high balance loans means high profile loans to our investors. They will 100% audit every single high balance loan that comes their way. It feels like they're looking for a reason to decline the loan, whether that's their true purpose or not. They look for missing data. They look for guideline violations, bad decisions, fraud, whatever you want, they're looking for. And they really do go through the file with a fine-tooth comb like no other. I believe they use more special auditors for high balance loans. So knowing this, we do have 2 underwriters underwrite your file. It's called a second level review, and we need to allow 24 hours in underwriting, an additional 24 hours in underwriting for the second level review. For the most part, they're reviewed simultaneously as the main underwriter goes through and underwrites the file and determines that we have a saleable loan. They'll start getting the second underwriter involved at that point. If it's not saleable yet, or it's too incomplete, or there's too many conditions, they're not going to get the second underwriter involved. We're not going to spend the time and money getting a second pair of eyes on it. Like I said, if it's incomplete, we'll wait until more conditions come in and then send it in for second level review. So if you're submitting a complete file, it'll go through quicker because we'll start that second review process sooner. And then please know with these high balance, high profile loans that there's just a lot less leniency when we start stacking layers of risk. We're not as flexible on these loans. The perfect and most foremost example is the DTI. I doubt you're going to see us exceed the DTI of 50% unless you have over and above the requirements needed, to qualify for the loan. So, 12 months reserves, type of thing. Definitely their own down. We'll talk about that a little bit more as we go through this. So, your FICO requirements for a purchase and rate and term, your minimum FICO is 640. Okay, your cash out minimum is 660 for 1 to 2 units and 680 for 3 to 4 units. If you're working with a streamline refinance, it's 680. And please know we don't have appraisal required if we're doing a wells-to-wells streamline refinance. Okay, your max DTI is 50%. Amazingly enough, gifts are still allowed for the down payment, so your borrower does not have to come in with the down payment on these high balance loans. The 3.5 can still be a gift from a relative, and as far as reserve requirements are concerned, there are none for 1 to 2 units. So those two guidelines are still pretty relaxed. I thought their guidelines would change once we get into high balance, but they don't. But just know that if we're working with these guidelines on a high on a high risk, high balance loan, then we're definitely not going to be exceeding that. Okay, the 50%. If you have 3 to 4 units, your reserve requirement is 3 months, and please know that reserves cannot be gifted. So if we do have to have reserves, it cannot be gifted. If you're working with cash out, this is where they definitely have some more strict guidelines. Cash out is available to an 85% LTV. A second appraisal will be required. Cash out is not allowed for any property that has been listed in the last 6 months, time taken from the date of application. Your appraisal requirements for loan amounts less than $1 million, one full appraisal is required. For loan amounts that exceed $1 million up to $2 million, one full appraisal plus a desk review. For loan amounts over $2 million or values greater than $2.5 million, two full FHA appraisals ordered from separate services, and a desk review is required. These are available on purchase, streamlines, rate and term, and cash out. You can go 1 to 4 units on these high balance loans. That's a 30-year fixed rate only. There's a 1% hit to price. Please know your appraisal costs are going to be higher for these more complex appraisals. Around $600 is where they start. And we do accept FHA transferred appraisals. Hey, one thing that just came to mind, and I didn't really mention that when we were up here talking about kind of treating high balance loans special. Make sure that you're giving yourself a longer period of time on these. I would do 45, 60-day locks at a minimum. You could have extended underwriting times like we talked about, but you could also have extended appraisal times. These more complex appraisals can sometimes just take more time. The initial appraiser might need more time to find comps. Depending on the area, they could be harder to come by. You may need a second appraisal. They almost always require a review appraisal. Just know you have your requirements up here. It says what's required. But, once we get an appraisal and we perform an internal audit, if there's something in that appraisal that we're not comfortable with, or if it fails a core logic test, that's an internal test that we enter the appraisal data, and the core logic gives us concerns that we should be taking a look at. And so if we have enough concerns, we may require a review appraisal. So you can have a review appraisal required on any loan anytime. Just know that. But on high balance loans, you're probably going to have it, I would say, 90% of the time. So give yourself extra time on these deals. Your MI. So this is one of the bigger deterrents for FHA High Balance because it is expensive. You've got your upfront of 1.75, and then you've got your annual based on the loan amount and the LTV. So it can be quite costly, obviously, because these loan amounts are so high. And then as far as your max loan amount is concerned, that will depend on the county. So there's a link here. If you click on that, sorry, my computer's a little slow. Okay. So this link you can access, and you can come in here and put in some property information to see what's available. And what I'd like to point out to you, this link, you can actually search FHA, and you can also search Fannie and Freddie's High Balance, okay? Just so you know that. And then you can come in here and see what your high balance, see what your loan limits are for this county. So that's a great little link that you can check. And really that's it, you guys. Those are your major differences on your FHA high balance loans from the regular FHA underwriting guidelines. You know, make sure, if you haven't done so already, or if you're not that familiar with FHA, go check out my class, FHA Purchase Loans, Pre-Qualification Questions and Tools. I put a lot of guidelines in there for FHA. Here's my blog, kduffieldmtg.wordpress.com. kduffieldmtg.wordpress.com. You do need to sign up for a WordPress account. My blog is not made available to the general public. It's private. You have to have that WordPress account. Once you're in there, you can click some fun things like follow my blog, which will send you an email anytime I upload a new training. I'm uploading trainings every week, or just, you know, schedule some time. I would schedule an hour a day for training, or an hour every other day. 3 times a week at a minimum, and, you know, get in there and get yourself trained on a variety of subjects so you're ready to answer questions and you know, get some loans going as quickly as possible. So check my blog out. Thank you for your time, and have a great day.